Hi, I'm your host, Mike Mullihan, and welcome to the Mic Drop. This has become a lot more fun than I originally anticipated, which is a very good thing if you know who I am, because I do love fun. Um, Man, a couple of things I got to say right off the bat. First and foremost, God is good, and He just is amazing, and has thrown so much protection and love and grace towards this whole situation, in the form of former graduates, some even current students, parents, teachers, basically every single person that has had an issue with Middlebury Community Schools that was bullied into keeping it quiet for shit, I don't know how many years, is reaching out to me right now. And I'm not dropping names, I'm not saying anything, it's not for me to do. People are reaching out to me because they're like, holy crap, dude, you're actually sharing your truth. And I'm like, yeah, because I have to. If this is still going on and there are risks of future potentials, like what had happened at the middle school or my experience or any of these other dozens of experiences that I'm hearing about in the last 24 hours that have all been kept quiet. And I want to say that I felt both at the same time so incredibly loved and so incredibly heartbroken at the same time. It was one of the craziest dichotomous feelings I felt. Um, the fact that so many of you have also uh, experienced this kind of, bullying or harassment or dismissal of your feelings, or, you know I think my favorite that I heard was from someone that couldn't have put it any better than I would have wanted to. And they said to me, it's like every time that someone wants to present a truth contrary to Middlebury Community Schools, truth about itself, Middlebury Community Schools does everything in its power to silence everyone else that offers a dissenting opinion. I can give you concrete examples that have happened in the last 24 hours. There are a number of former students of Northridge High School that are current prominent members of Middlebury community, parents, um, extremely diligent and professional workers, and basically, the future adults of the community that are reaching out to me in this, sharing those experiences. And I don't know why you would fight so hard to quiet people that have concerns when you can be putting all of that effort, energy, and money into helping the problem. And that's my truth. That's Mike's truth. I have that question, and I'm allowed to have that question because I breathe. I'm human. I matter. I deserve love. My truth matters. Your truth matters. And you've got a lot of more truth than I have. It has been overwhelming, and I got to tell this to all of you guys right now. Every single one of you that's reached out to me so far, you are some of the most bravest people I have ever met. Courageous, like people that are normally so scared to say anything have told me that after watching a couple of my videos, they feel more empowered to share their truth. Not so much as to go and create their own channel by chance, but enough to reach out to someone else who's sharing their truth, and they had an experience where their truth was silenced in the same way, reaching out and saying, hey, you're not alone. And I felt immediately loved and immediately heartbroken all at the same time the minute I heard those stories. Um, but man, you guys are amazing. And to everybody who is thinking about reaching out to me and hasn't because they're afraid, I respect you 100%. I love you. You have every part of my heart in choosing to do what is right for you. I have not asked a single person to do a single thing for me in any of this at all. Everything that I've done has been by my own two hands, by my own 2 feet, and it will continue to be that way because it's the mic drop. It's Mike's truth. I have to be present to be there, or else it's someone speaking for me. And the last time I checked, when someone speaks for someone else, because we're human and potentially fallible, sometimes we just don't always get it right. So in an effort to eliminate a lot of that miscommunication, I made myself available. Similarly, how to when Officer Schott said he'd have to do an assessment to determine whether or not I would actually be a risk at graduation, he said I can't do it over the phone, and that he would need to do it in person. And I said, well, graduation isn't for another 30 hours. I will drive there and spend every waking moment I possibly can to show you and go through whatever test and anything that you want to show that I'm not a threat. And because it doesn't matter whether I'm an actual threat or not, because Middlebury Community Schools perceives me as a threat, they threw a trespass on me. So why does a school corporation get to have feelings about something and then throw a law on somebody putting a trespass? But when we, the community and workers of Middlebury Community Schools, say something in the opposite direction, and we get, here, I will tell you what has happened to me. Blocked from all of the social media when it comes to Northridge. Removed from my own webpage that I created in support of Northridge High School's pep band. My students who have reached out to Middlebury Community Schools on their Facebook pages are showing me screenshots where they are blocked by Middlebury Community Schools' Facebook page. The content is no longer available, meaning they deleted the comments on Middlebury Community Schools' Facebook page. And I'm not saying I'm not saying whether this is right or wrong or not, because everybody is entitled to protect their truth. If Middlebury Community Schools has a Facebook page and they want to portray their truth a certain way, that is no different than what I'm doing with the mic drop right now. We are the exact same. The difference is why we're doing it. I'm presenting my truth because it is contrary to what their truth has been for a really long time, and there's a lot more of me out here than there are people still within the system that are pointing fingers down and saying, well, he's not as good as, he's not all it's cracked up to be, I had some bad experiences with him and all that stuff. Over 10 years with 400 students assigned to me every single year and nearly 100 graduates. So I've graduated over 1,000 children in my lifetime. There is a chance, and I know it's going to shock some of you, that I maybe was not on my A game. Sorry. I am human. I do make mistakes. I'm also very apologetic about those mistakes, and very, very soon after the conveyance of apology is given and accepted, I become a student of the situation because I want to learn how not to do it again. Not to compromise my truth so I don't speak my truth again, but how when I speak my truth, it is also sensitive to how you would receive it because I love you. With unconditional positive regard, because you breathe. And I'll say this, I would think that if more people were like that, there would be maybe less contestation right now on perceptions of truths. Let me tell you some very interesting facts about Middlebury Community Schools and their practices. In my experience. So, I'm not saying this is the truth. I'm not saying it's factual. I'm saying over the 10 years that I've worked here is what I observed. Make your own conclusions. Active members of the community that Middlebury Community Schools serves are reaching out to Middlebury Community Schools through whatever means they can, social media, phone, email, whatever, with a concern. Something they don't agree with. Something that they would like more information about, which is very much within their right to have. The mistake that I believe in this situation Middlebury Community Schools made was they informed me at 9:15 in the morning on the last day that anybody is working that week that would be able to help me understand the situation and see if there's anything I can do to help or anything about it so that I don't have to break the promises to my children. My truth is not what Middlebury Community Schools want Middlebury community to hear. Turns out, Middlebury Community Schools doesn't want to hear a lot of what Middlebury community has to say on their social media. So guess what they're going to do? We're going to hold forums. We're going to hold school board meetings. Anybody is encouraged to show up and voice their opinions. Hey, newsflash, we're in 2023. After a 3-year global pandemic that shut down everything and their ability to go outside safely, it's not exactly gotten back to pre-pandemic standards where people are just like up and jumping and going outside freely for anything and everything now with no worry. Many people are still being very cognizant of that and are being very protective since they don't want to get sick or share or all this stuff too. You're not going to have Middlebury Community Schools show up in person sometimes as much as you would have them show up in an email or a Facebook post or something. And that's not because they're trying to hide behind what they want to say. It's because y'all in Middlebury are so busy in the community doing fantastic things that a lot of the time you don't have a lot of time to show up to something else. One of the one of the most common things that we said about Northridge High School students, as opposed to other students that we meet or work with, at least for me, in my experience, I could say that Middlebury Community Schools kids, the Northridge High School kids, are they're a brilliant body of diversity if it's allowed. When the diversity challenges the status quo in a community that doesn't want really things to change at all, then you're going to have contesting opinions. And then you're going to have the direction that a community may want to go versus what the community people want to go. And now you have a microcosm of the entire whole political mess that is the country. And I'm not trying to get into that because I don't care about that. I was forced to care about that against my will by Middlebury Community Schools and my administration. I was told that if I don't start incorporating other people's perceptions into my daily life and acting as a professional with children, that I'm doing it wrong. Okay. I can buy that. A little bit. I don't agree with it. I can see where you're coming from. I have a choice now whether to try to make you feel like shit for sharing that, whether I support you out of love unconditionally, or whether or not I ignore you and neglect you completely, hoping you disappear into obscurity. In my experience in attempting to work with Middlebury Community Schools to resolve some of these internal conflicts and situations amongst staff and administration and even some community members, I digress. The reason this mic drop is out here today is because I made a decision on what it is that I'm going to do. And a lot of you guys have been waiting to hear what it is that I am going to do, and there is a large contingent of people that are almost waiting to support me in whatever that I want to do. And I feel responsible to that. And I'm going to take that very, very, very seriously. And I'm going to do something about it. So, here's what's going to happen for all of you that are wondering. And I know full well that after all this, here's my prediction. Most of the people that work at Middlebury Community Schools are going to go, oh, shh. Most of the people that want to support me in all of this are going to be like, oh, awesome. And then all of the other people in between are just going to go, I wonder what's going to happen. So here's what's going to happen. So, and this can be used in a court of law. I give my permission. I'm going to say this part. I am not going to show up to Middlebury Community Schools Northridge High School graduation ceremony and step foot on their property and get arrested for trespassing. I have decided that that is not the best way for me to show my kids that I'm there at graduation supporting them. I know some of you right now are like, no, come on, dude, we'll show up, we'll be there, we'll link in arms, we'll handcuff up, and we'll walk in there to get left or arrest us all. I appreciate your passion and enthusiasm more than I can ever put into words. Like, I love you for being you, and your passion is helping to fire me up about the things that I actually want to try to accomplish with all this, and so I am eternally grateful for it. But my whole goal this entire time has not changed. I don't care about going up against Middlebury Community Schools. I don't care about miscommunications and contestations and whether or not I should be evaluated as a threat or anything else. I don't care about any of that. I care about the half a dozen to a dozen or so kids that I swore in that graduating class would hear me cheer for them loudly at graduation when they walk across and get their diploma, because they have made it through some of the most unspeakable horrors that children should ever face in life. And after 1,000 graduates and close to over 4,000 children counseled, yeah, I've got a pretty strong wealth to pull from when I say that. And again, this is Mike's truth. This is the mic drop. You can't contest my truth. It's mine. It's valid. You don't have to agree with it. And we can share your truth, and I would love to hear it. But in this moment, right now, my truth is untouchable. Here's what I will tell you. I will not break any law. Period. Even laws I don't agree with, I tend to not break, because I still have enough respect for humanity to try to understand why that was put in place before I'm going to disagree with it. Even if it's the most egregious, belittling, handcuffing, menial thing they could put me through, I will still do that, which is why, even though little politic conversation behind the scenes, when I was called by Officer Schatz to discuss a trespass that's been placed against me, the hour-long conversation afterward transpired, and it was a very poor attempt to try to get me to say something on the phone that would justify putting the trespass on me. And the reason why I know that was the case is because the same politics that made me run for my life and quit the school system were still being used in the exact same way towards me. So when I came back after a year of recovery and a year of not being under the thumb of that corporation and doing a lot of self-care, I'm able to look back on it and reflect, and this is the truth that I come with. Ask any mental health professional that exists right now in this country, and I would love to hear how they would feel about someone who has taken an active role in improving their own self-care and mental health by feeling confident in sharing what they believe to be true, not at the expense of anybody else, but just to share. I'm not a therapist. I could very easily become one very soon. My therapist thinks I could probably sit down and pass the NCE without much difficulty, given the breadth of experience that I've had already after the 10 years. Very complimentary. Thank you, therapist. I don't know that I have that much confidence in myself, but right now, so much stuff is happening that I had no idea would actually happen in a very, very good way, that I don't want to control things. I don't want to direct things. I am completely content with giving a single directive to everyone who wants to show love and support to me. Do you. Whatever is true to your heart, whatever it is true to yourself, whatever you want to be remembered as, expressed as, whatever, be true to yourself 100% of the time. That goes for children, that goes for recent graduates, that goes for long-standing adults, that goes for everybody. Be true to yourself. This is me being true to myself. So here's what's going to happen. During the course of the graduation ceremony at Northridge High School, when it comes time that the students are being announced to receive their diplomas, in my experience, Northridge has asked the audience to politely withhold their applause until the end of the reading of the names, so that the ceremony can go smoothly. In the 8 years that I have seen graduation, 7 years that I've seen graduations at Northridge High School, they recommend that, but then the actual people that really, really, really love the successes of those students and can really care less about the Northridge view of what is acceptable, they cheer anyway. And I was one of them. There a kid walk across the stage that I knew had lived through hell, and I was sitting in the back, and their name got read, and I knew full well that their family was going to go ballistic because of what they made it through in order to do it. I was ballistic with them, and I got some strange looks. I've gotten strange looks from a lot of people in Middlebury Community Schools for how I cheer for kids. Most of them have been good looks, like, hey, that's kind of strange, but man, you keep it up because it's a lot of fun. Great. I will keep being me. Thank you. I will be present enough during the graduation ceremony that I will be able to keep my promise to my students. And I'm going to do so without breaking a single law and not violating a trespass order that was unjustly thrown upon me. Now, everybody's wondering how I'm going to do it. There's only one person other than me that does. And that's how it's going to stay until it's over. Because like Middlebury Community Schools, when they made a decision and they didn't want anybody to be able to say anything against it or have any power to contrast it, they tell me at the last possible minute, and then when I do everything in my power to try to still make it a possibility where I could show up, they say no. So, you're not going to get the details of my plan on how I plan to accomplish this so that you can put into some kind of plan a way to stop it. You're not going to. Not this time. I'm going to do everything by the letter of the law. And I'm going to do everything completely out in the open. Nothing shady, nothing hidden. And afterward, after the ceremony is over, usually that's when everybody will kind of break after the... I'm last names R through Z, so usually when my kids get done, being listed off, that's the end of the procession, because alphabetical. It's usually at that moment where there's a final few words where it is, we recommend these kids to be graduated, everybody's fine, there's a throwing of a cap if that's allowed. Some years it was allowed, some years it wasn't, I don't know. And it's done. The graduation ceremony at that point has finished. And the students usually will go to get their diplomas out of the thing. Maybe, and they're doing it different this year. I don't know. I don't know anything about how graduation ceremony has changed. But that part that it's over, the minute that happens, I am going to go to a place where we can, all of those that showed support for me, and all of those that want to show up and rally behind, the cause or whatever, I love you. And I'm going to be there to meet with you. And I'm going to be there to receive your love and support. And it may not be exactly in the way that you want to support me because you're impassioned and fired up about this, and I love your passion so much. I really, really do. I swear to you on everything that I believe to be true, the only thing I'm going to try to do is accomplish my one goal. That's all I'm going there for. Afterwards... whatever transpires afterwards as a result of me letting my kids know that I was there in solidarity and support and keeping my promise, I have no control over. I'm going to go to a place where I believe it is going to be safe for a lot of us to congregate and have a conversation. And I will show, and I will actually, at that point, be able to tell you everything that I just did and how I was able to accomplish what I had just accomplished without breaking any laws, without disrupting the graduation ceremony, and really without not doing anything other than keeping my promise. If you would like to hear all the details about how I pulled that off, wait until right as the graduation ceremony ends. And right after it's over, I'm going to drop another mic drop video. And it's going to have a location and some directions, maybe some instructions on how to peacefully congregate together to have a very good constructive discussion about everybody, how they're feeling, sharing stories, making sure everybody feels heard without any being able to come in and say, hey, you need to knock all this off and go away. We'll go to a public place and just talk. Last I checked, the First Amendment of the United States gives us the right to congregate peacefully on public property. And since the Constitution has been written, I don't think that that has necessarily changed. It's been enacted in many different ways that people have had to look at and go, bro, that's kind of sus. But the legality of that has not changed. So that's what I would like to offer. I would like to offer an opportunity right after graduation's over. And I know some of you guys have like a butt ton of plans. You got to go do stuff and like, graduation parties and all that stuff. Go for it. I don't want you to do anything at all different than what you would want to do to celebrate your child's graduation. I'm not asking for anybody for anything, but a lot of people are asking me, Malahan, how can we come support you? Malahan, where are you going to be? Malahan, we want to show up for you. How can we do that? I've got an idea. And I'm going to share it with you after graduation is over. And it'll have everything that you need to know. Okay? So, in conclusion for right now, every single one of you that has reached out to me up to this point, you are some of the bravest people that I've ever met in my life. I'm a fan of yours now. And you have in turn made me stronger as a person, as an individual, in feeling like I can share my own truth. And if any part of this is helping to be reciprocal to you so that you feel that way too, then man, my heart will just completely swell. I would love for everybody to feel comfortable sharing their truth without fear of condemnation and ridicule and be made to feel that their truth doesn't matter. Your truths do not have to agree. The truth of your experience and your experience can be diametrically opposed, and they're still 100% valid. And we've lost that somewhere. Somewhere we felt like the minute we disagree with something, it's a fight. It's an argument that we have to be superior and our way has to be correct. Well, if we'd stayed doing that, I don't know that the United States of America would exist. I'm pretty sure we'd still be in the United Kingdom somehow. Because it took some of the first Americans to rebel against the establishment that was already in place to order to have the freedoms they needed to be themselves in a different land. And they wanted stuff like, I just want to be able to worship a God that I want to worship. And that's it, really. And I don't want to get killed for it because we're not worshiping the same one that the king is. Imagine the very first people that created America wanting to escape an overbearing, overpowering, unfair establishment so that they can be true to themselves. I've never felt more patriotic than I do right now. And not for the ways that most people would feel patriotic. I am thankful that there is the wealth of you out there wanting to share a truth that is just as valid as everybody else, that you were made to feel should never be shared or else something bad will happen to you. And if that's what I'm able to accomplish through the mic drop, I don't need to do anything else. And remember, the mic drop and my truth and all that, this is separate than Mike Malahan, the former Northridge High School school counselor that wants to go and keep a promise to the kids that he made a promise to 3 or 4 years ago to be able to keep. Wish me luck. If you are so inclined, pray. Whatever it is that is true to you, I receive your well wishes, I feel them, and I'm going to return them in kind. I have a plan. And I look forward to sharing that with you right after the graduation ceremony ends. I love you all. This is the mic drop. And man, this truth